Will the Dallas Cowboys rest any of their starters in Week 18? All that and more in this episode of the Locked On Cowboys podcast.
You are Locked On Cowboys, your daily Dallas Cowboys podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked on Cowboys. Locked on Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Locked On Cowboys podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for tuning in. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. I am Marcus Mosher. You can follow me on Twitter at Marcus_Mosher. He is Landon McCool. Check him out on Twitter at McCoolBCB. Landon, Week 18, we finally made it. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. I'm actually still in Dallas, about to head back to LA, but I've had a nice little trip here. It's been good to kind of get around to see the people of Dallas and seeing lots of Cowboys bumper stickers. It's always fun to be in Dallas when Dallas is winning, because you see all the Cowboys fans like out in their gear and like very heavily supporting their team. And obviously when things aren't going as well, the winters are not quite as filled with Dallas cheer. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to talk about the final game of the regular season, which it kind of really snuck up on us, especially with the playoffs and everything and else that's been going on, obviously. But I'm certainly excited to sit here and talk Cowboys football.
All right, we've got a lot to talk about and to preview this game. But my first question is for you. Do you anticipate the Cowboys resting any of their starters or key players on Sunday?
I think they're going to be smart. You and I had a conversation about this before, trying to kind of read the tea leaves here a little bit. And I think we've talked about throughout the week that I think it's important for them to kind of go through the week of practice like everybody was playing a normal, schedule on Sunday. Just to prep for the game, get through a normal week of practice. And just, try to kind of continue the norms of the regular season schedule. But I do think that, since these two games, and of course, I'm referring to the Giants-Eagles game, which is relevant to the Cowboys playoff seeding. Since these games are going on at the same time, we do think there will be kind of heavy rotation. The facts and particulars of the other game are that Jalen Hurts does appear to be playing. The Giants do appear to be resting some folks. So there's still an outside chance that the Giants somehow pull that one out, but it's looking more and more that like there's a strong possibility that Eagles could win that game, kind of running away a little bit. So if the score kind of gets out of whack early, maybe you start to see a more heavy rotation of our starters out of the game and start getting some of the younger folks in. I think a lot of it is going to end up being based on what the scoreboard may look like. And even if it doesn't, I imagine a heavy rotation of players in this game, regardless, because there's really not a ton of chance that this game is going to have a huge meaning. But there is obviously chance that an injury in this game would have a huge effect on the playoffs.
I think the Cowboys are going to try to win this game. Let's make no mistake about it. They want to win. I also think it's important to Mike McCarthy to win 13 games. That would be tied for the most in franchise history in a single season. I mean, it's pretty nice to have that on your resume if you're Mike McCarthy, right? Yeah. So I think the Cowboys want to try to win. I just think that the way that they're going to try to do it is by using heavy rotations. And I would expect as we get to the second half of this game to see a pretty conservative game plan, right? A lot of running, probably a lot of in between the tackle runs. I wouldn't even be surprised if we see like, hey, Matt Farniak, why don't you go out and play, 15 snaps for this drive? Hey, Josh Ball, why don't you come out and replace Tyron Smith at right tackle? Jake Ferguson, you're going to get a little bit more run. I think you'll see stuff like that rather than, okay, let's take our whole first team offense and first team defense off the field. I think you'll see small rotations like that.
That's just not something that, look, this is not college football. And that's just not something that the NFL teams can do because of the restrictions on game day, rosters. So, there's just not going to be a wholesale, line change of second offensive line or second team offense. Like not all of the second team offense necessarily is active, depending on what we're talking about. Right. So yeah, I think it's going to be a case where they're going to pick and choose veterans and start rotating them out as needed. Key veterans, obviously. And then we'll see some young guys definitely playing.
Like this isn't a game that Zeke needs to get 17 carries. Like I think Zeke will get his usual first half workload, and then in the second half we'll probably see a lot of Malik Davis, right?
I think that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.
And same with CD. Like I think CD will get targets early in this game, but I would expect in the third and fourth quarter that'll probably be a lot of Noah Brown. Maybe you see some more T.Y. Hilton. Like you can do this smartly and not put your guys at a lot of risk.
Look, when you look at where the Washington team is in injuries and who they're playing and everything. This is a game that the Cowboys should be able to win using this kind of methodology. It's going to be a tighter game than all expected. I think if you go into the game thinking that you're going to get a normal contest of the Commanders, beat up team and third string quarterback against all of the Cowboys starters, that's not what's going to happen. The Cowboys are going to have their own situations too. But I do think that the Cowboys have enough talent that they should be able to win this game. While being able to heavily rotate folks in and kind of keep themselves safe.
I think the Cowboys would ideally like to win this game 20-10, like something like that, right? Where maybe you get up 10-0 to start a game, kick some field goals in the second half, and you just get out with a win. Like I think that's going to be the strategy here for Dallas. But let's talk about the offense and what we kind of expect to happen here. But before we do that, we want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. All you have to do is pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their Prize Pick projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. No competing against other players. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on just about any sport that you watch. This includes NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, PGA, college football, men's college basketball, women's college basketball, soccer, WNBA, esports, NASCAR, tennis, MMA, boxing, disc golf, Euro basketball, cricket, and more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. They are currently operational in over 30 states and in Canada. Download the Prize Pick app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up to play daily fantasy sports. First time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. You deposit $100, Prize Picks will give you $100. You deposit $50, they'll give you $50. It's really that easy. Don't forget to enter promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Let's talk about the Cowboys offense in this game. Washington's going to be without Jonathan Allen, most likely. 2 of their starting cornerbacks, Cameron Curl, their top safety, is going to be out in this game. Jamin Davis, their top linebacker, also going to be out. What do the Cowboys need to do on offense? Just put this game away.
I mean, I think just take care of business. The one thing I continue to worry about with this game is the field. It's always a problem. There's injuries. It's disgusting. It's muddy usually, especially by the end of the season. It's just destroyed and terrible. So I think for the Cowboys, kind of trying to kind of get into this game and try to move the ball and score points while not having to do anything super complicated is it's just going to be a physical matchup, right? I think they just need to kind of, it obviously it helps a ton that you're not going to have Jonathan Allen out there. It helps a ton that you're not going to have Cameron Curl out there. Because I think that those are 2 guys that are big and involved in their run defense. Jamin Davis, obviously a big part of that as well. So I think for the Cowboys, they want to get out of here. They want to shorten the game. They want to win and control. All of that points to running the football, especially with the field the way it is. You don't want to make wide receivers go out there and make a bunch of quick turns or have to get into lengthy routes because everything's just going to be slowed down with that field. Timing will be off. I just think that, if the Cowboys can find a way to control the game up front and then run the football, they'll shorten the game, they'll control the game, and then everybody will get out of here a lot quicker, hopefully, than anticipated. And I think that's the main game plan there.
I will say, I would love to see this be the game that the Cowboys just make it a point, Michael Gallup, you're getting 7 targets in the first half of this game. Let's get you in rhythm. Let's get your confidence up. These corners are not very good. And let's give something, Tampa Bay, something else to think about. I would love to see Gallup have some big plays in this game. On the other hand, T.Y. Hilton, I'm not sure this is the best game for him. Like on this sloppy field that's kind of slow, this might be a game just you give him a little bit of run and then let him rest in the second half. Same with CeeDee Lamb. Gallup is the guy that I want to see have a big game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to have obviously a handful of third down situations that they're going to need to kind of work through. And I think it would be, beneficial to kind of get Gallup involved in some of that just to kind of give him some confidence, give Tampa Bay something, like you said, something to think about going into that game. They've started to ramp up Gallup, it feels like, a little bit more, and he started to kind of respond. Let's continue that. He's definitely one of these guys that, despite being a veteran, you feel like could really still benefit from getting kind of a full week, just another week of working back and that sort of thing. So, I definitely say that Gallup would be a good guy to get several targets, maybe more than he normally is used to kind of continue to get him back into gear.
And keep an eye on the offensive line in this game. We're going to have some new starters for the Cowboys. Jason Peters likely to start at left tackle. Tyler Smith likely to start at left guard. Connor McGovern making his first start at center. Even without Jonathan Allen, this is still a really good defensive line. Montez Sweat, one of the best pass rushers in the league this year. Chase Young is back. Daron Payne playing for a big contract. This is maybe his last game for Washington. They've also got depth on that defensive line. It's a big game for the Cowboys offensive line. I would like to see them take care of business in this one.
And honestly, I think part of the reason I want to see them run the football a lot, is because I don't want to see Dak having to drop back and pass against that pass rush a bunch.
Thank you.
While there's a muddy field, uncertain field footing underneath him, and just all the other things that are involved there. This is why the dangers of this game are, more about what is the team going to look like next week, as far as winning the game or not. Like, I would much rather lose the game and everyone come out healthy than vice versa. So the Cowboys got to find a balance there, and that's kind of a tricky thing that this time of year is finding a balance of a winning formula while also protecting your most important players in a game that is essentially meaningless.
It's the hardest thing to balance and to manage, right? Like how do you play a game that's as violent as football is and try to keep guys healthy and try to win at the same time on the road against a division rival on a crap field? Like, I don't know how you do it. The problem is if you don't like Mike McCarthy, whatever he does here is going to be the wrong decision, right? Like, if you play this game and you come out healthy and you lose, okay, what was the point? If you play this game and you win, but you lose one guy for next week, okay, what was the point? Like, there's just no positive outcomes here.
Short of winning with no injuries.
They're short of winning with no injuries. And then even then it's like, well, hey, the other guys, Tampa Bay rested their starters. They're just going to be fresher for round one. Like, I don't know how you do this. Whatever he decides will probably be fine. And McCarthy's been in this situation enough throughout his career that I think he has probably a good idea what to do.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's the benefit of having an experienced coach here for this situation is they've navigated this before in certain ways. So I think I have a certain level of trust.
Cowboys, but also with Green Bay. How many years did Green Bay have this exact scenario where they knew they were going to be playing in round one, and we've got a meaningless week 17, week 18, sometimes a meaningless week 16 game even. He knows how to get out of these games.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is one of the benefits of having a veteran coach who's done this a lot is he knows how to handle these kind of unique situations at the end of the season.
All right, let's talk about the Cowboys defense. But before we do that, I'm going to let you know this podcast is brought to you by Bet Online. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds, trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season to basketball and the World Cup. They've got you covered at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, and we know that you do because you're listening to one right now, you can even find those as well. It's the fastest and the easiest way to get all of your betting info. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Landon. The Cowboys will be going up against another quarterback making his first NFL start. How do you feel about Sam Howell starting this game?
Well, I mean, it's just another interesting data point to a game that has so many weird things already on it, right? I think it's on some level it's hilarious because it's just like what's going on with Carson Wentz? What do you guys like? This whole thing with them and Wentz and their inability to kind of figure out what they're doing at quarterback is just ongoing hilarious train wreck for me. So there's that. On top of that, you got a guy in Sam Howell who, I think he can be kind of, kind of a Taylor Heineke plus for them if he wants, if he can develop a little bit. He's, 5th round rookie quarterback, and there shouldn't be high expectations for this guy. But I think, you're going to get the kind of performance that you usually get when you have a quarterback who doesn't have a ton of tape out on him.
Yep.
There's going to be they'll have some specific plays for him that, to try to get him some success early. This is a bad situation for Heine, for Howell, because he's going behind an offensive line that can't block anybody, and it's he has some receivers to throw the football to. But without an offensive line, it's going to be difficult for him to navigate. They're probably going to have to rely on the run game heavily as well. Mm-hmm. So I think it's, it'll be interesting to see exactly what they kind of cook up for him. Scott Turner is one of the better OCs in football, I think, and has some ability to kind of get these guys some easy throws. But at a certain point, you have to be able to kind of, produce on your own from the pocket. And that's where I just obviously don't have any confidence, because I haven't seen anything from Sam Howell to give me any confidence in that area of the game.
Just kind of going back and like watching his film at North Carolina, I can almost tell you exactly what this game plan is going to look like. First and second downs, you can see a lot of runs. And when they do throw the ball, it's going to be on play action bootleg. You have a high read and you have a low read, and he's going to take the low read more often than not. And then on third down, it's going to be YOLO ball down to the sideline to Terry McLaurin or Jahan Dotson, or it's going to be take off and run. And that's probably going to be the extent of the offense, which is pretty similar to what we saw from Josh Dobbs last week against the Titans. And you know what? Maybe one or two of those times receivers make awesome plays and they catch 50-yard passes and it results in points. I just don't see Washington putting together 12 play drives for 75 yards and, scoring a touchdown at the end. Like, that's probably not going to happen in this game.
Yeah. I mean, when you're not good enough to make a bunch of big plays down the field, and you're not good enough to orchestrate 12 play drives where you don't make any mistakes, it's hard to move the football in the NFL. And so I think that's where, Sam's going to kind of have some growing pains here. But we'll see. Like I said, I think they'll definitely work to his strengths a little bit, and I think you laid it out perfectly.
They'll try to hide him as best as they can. They'll give him opportunities to make plays, and again, it's probably just going to come down to, can McLaurin make a ridiculous catch for a 60-yard touchdown? If he does, Washington will hang around. If not, this game could get ugly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, prediction time. Who do you have winning?
I mean, I'm picking the Cowboys. I think, especially with Sam Howell coming in, it's not a situation where they're going to be able to kind of keep up with points, even if Cooper Rush goes in there, honestly, just because the Cowboys have more experience, they have more depth, they have more talent, they're healthier. I just think that this is a game the Cowboys should win. It's tough to predict a score, though, right? Because there's so many kind of weird variables here.
Yeah.
I'll go 24-14. Let's say 24-13. I don't think they scored 2 touchdowns. They'd probably get a couple field goals.
I'll go 21-16 in a really ugly game that's done in like 2 hours and 45 minutes. How's that?
I like
timing.
Yeah.
The timing part's why it feels like both teams just want to run the ball, get out of this game. Cowboys get ready for the playoffs. Washington get ready for the playoffs. Oh wait, sorry, Rod Rivera. I mean, get ready for the offseason. Had to get one more Ron Rivera joke.
One more Ron Rivera joke in while we had the chance. Yeah.
Because I don't know if we're gonna get this chance next year with Ron. It might be
We'll
somebody
see.
else.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys as well. It just feels like at this point they're just far more talented. It's a rookie quarterback making his first start. It's gonna be tough. But all right, that is it for today's show. Thank you for making Locked On Cowboys your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NFL podcast, bringing you the local insights you love to the national spotlight with daily conversations on the biggest NFL stories. Locked On NFL, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Check out our show on YouTube. That's Locked On Cowboys over there. Follow Landon at McCoolBCB. I'm at Marcus_Mosher. Enjoy the final regular season game for the Cowboys. We'll get you guys ready next week for playoff football. We're back, Landon. We did
That's
it.
right.
Playoff football.
Here we are.
Can't wait. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you guys next time.